Russia is expanding its offensive to the western part of Ukraine. The manhunt is underway in Merced, California.
The Senate passed a massive government funding bill, and a Democratic Political Action Committee filed a complaint against former President Donald Trump Monday. All this and more right here on WCTV.
And now, your 5 o'clock news on Channel 14.
We want to welcome you back to Channel 14 News on WCTV. I'm Caleb Yager.
And I'm Rachel Pellegrino. Gas prices are skyrocketing nationwide. Micah Leaf took an in-depth look at how the prices are impacting Greene County and Waynesburg University.
Nationwide gas prices have reached levels that haven't been seen since the 2008 financial crisis. That rapid increase in prices is being felt by Greene County residents and Waynesburg University students alike.
According to the Department of Energy Information and Administration, the nationwide average for gas prices last month were $3.61, compared to an average price of $2.58 last February. That increase in fuel prices has impacted almost every aspect of people's lives.
I'm not from Waynesburg. I work at the prison and I travel an hour and a half to get here. So me filling up twice a week, to fill up my Jeep is now almost $60 every time. So I'm going to be spending $400+ a month just on gas alone. It's like having another car payment, which not everybody really needs or wants right now, but it has affected it in other ways. I try not to go out to eat as much or watch my grocery budget.
Working people aren't the only ones affected. Students who commute to school also have to deal with the increase in prices.
Gas prices have had a substantial impact on me and my wallet throughout the semester, because at the beginning of the semester it would cost me around, I would say, $20, $25, and I could put half of a tank to 3/4 of a tank, in my car. And now, the other day, I put like $40 in it and got a little bit over a quarter. So.
Meanwhile, other students who take time off work during the school year are also having to adjust their budgets.
I don't work during school. I usually work during the summers, and I like to kind of just focus on school. I don't have a job right now, so I kind of came up with a budget at the beginning of the semester. I allowed myself to spend this much money on gas, this much money on food each week, and I've kind of been sticking to that all year because I made most of my money in the summer. But with these new change in gas prices, it's like I've kind of had to adjust in my weekly budget just a tad. That way I can, still live financially free.
The increased gas prices don't just affect everyday people's lives. It also has an impact on local government. However, county officials that I spoke to said they don't expect the increased prices to affect the services the county has to offer.
According to a statement by Mike Belding, the chairman of the Greene County Commissioners, increased prices for fuel and other consumables does impact Greene County's already strained budget. However, the commissioners do not believe that it will cause a reduction in services the county can offer. That belief is shared by Richard Blaker, the Director of Transportation Services in Greene County, and he said that the biggest issue that Greene County Transportation is facing is a shortage of drivers.
We monitor our routing software daily to ensure that we run the most efficient as we can. It hasn't really impacted us as far as being efficient. The hot topics now in transportation is finding drivers. The fuel thing is maybe secondary,
Unfortunately, these prices might be here to stay for a while. Although President Biden says he could do everything he can to bring prices down, the experts say that they could drag on for months. For WCTV, I'm Micah Leith.
The weather outside was frightful this past Saturday, but that didn't stop Greene County residents from meeting in the Eva K. Bowlby Library for their annual chili cook-off. WCTV's Riley Holsinger has the story.
Cold and snowy weather provides the right formula for the Bowlby Library's chili cook-off.
It's a beautiful day for chili.
Despite poor weather conditions, members of the community still flocked to the library for the event.
We were surprised. We got here about 11:30 and there's cars in the parking lot and the room is full and There's 4 contestants vying for some good prizes for the best chili today. So that was great.
Belding offered his own insight as one of the judges.
1, 2, and 3 were very good. 4 was a little hot for me. Tasted good, but it had a little bit left over, and I'm still, got a little sinus and a little bit of redness in my face. But I think there's an opportunity for everybody to enjoy their favorite chili out here today.
Even event organizers were concerned that the event might have been canceled for the 3rd consecutive year.
I was a little worried this morning when we came in and saw how much snow there was and getting all the walks cleared and everything ready for it.
Overall, Bowlby Library leaders succeeded in their goal in having community members more engaged with events at the library.
It's a great combination of bad weather, chili, and the library.
Chilling at the Chili Cook-Off for Channel 14 News, I'm Riley Holsinger.
Volleyball season is upon us, but not for the team. The faculty and staff held a series of pickup volleyball games to move away from the hard work that they do. Joe Venzel has the story.
Joe Venzel here with WCTV News as I am here to cover the faculty and staff volleyball game held in the old gym of Rudy Maurice Fieldhouse. I sat down with Emily Smelly, assistant admissions director, former Waynesburg volleyball player, to see what it means to have the faculty and staff come together for a friendly competition. I also sat down with housing director Matt Pioch to see what the fun was going to bring with him with his tall stature.
Yeah, it's always good to see staff in a different light, especially when it's cross departments, I get to see the people in my office all the time, but it was great to hang out with admissions, and we had Coach Headley was down here, and so just seeing some people I don't regularly see up in Stover.
Reporting from Rudy Maurice Fieldhouse, Joe Venzel, WCTV.
That's all we have for local and campus news. When we come back, we'll have news from around the nation. Russia is expanding its offensive to the western part of Ukraine and striking regions closer to NATO member territory, all while Russia denies reports that it asked China for assistance. Chris Wen is tracking all the developments.
Chaos and devastation as Russia intensifies its assault on Ukraine. Russian missiles hit a large military base near the western city of Lviv, killing at least 35 people and leaving more than 130 injured, according to local authorities. The attack not far from Poland, drawing the war even closer to the borders of a NATO country. Russian forces also opening fire on 2 American journalists, killing one while wounding the other, according to Kyiv police.
We crossed a checkpoint and they start shooting at us. So the driver turned around and they kept shooting.
In Kyiv, there have been heavy explosions and multiple casualties after authorities say a residential building in the Ukrainian capital was hit by shelling.
Sick kids fleeing on makeshift medical trains. The unthinkable bombing of a maternity ward. Parents weeping over their children's broken bodies in the streets.
U.S. officials say Russia has asked China for military support, including drones, as well as economic assistance. Both countries deny the request was made.
We will not stand by and allow any country to compensate Russia for its losses from the economic sanctions.
Meanwhile, the 4th round of talks between Ukraine and Russia were put on hold until Tuesday. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will give a virtual address to Congress on Wednesday. In Washington, I'm Chris Wynn reporting.
A manhunt is underway in Merced, California, just 50 miles north of Fresno. A child was found dead, and now police are asking him for help to find the wanted murder suspect. Nick Garcia has more.
Stuffed animals and bright balloons, something any young girl would be happy to see. But these are part of a memorial for a child who was found dead in this house Friday afternoon.
We're waiting notification from the coroner's office to get positive identification on this child, but it is still under investigation, and our detectives are currently working leads.
8-year-old Sophia Mason, who has ties to this address, has been missing for about a month. Her mom, Samantha Johnson, was arrested in Alameda County on child neglect charges. She will now be transferred to the Merced County Jail, where she will also face murder charges.
During the interview with her, statements were made that seemed suspicious, so they reached out to us because there were some connections with the juvenile and the mother to this residence, and that's what led our investigators out here.
Police say Johnson's boyfriend, Dante Jackson, is on the run. Police issued a murder warrant after a child was found dead at the house where he lives. Police say he's known to visit the Bay Area. Back in Merced, some neighbors say they rarely saw Johnson, Jackson, or 8-year-old Sophia. Now they're coming together to create this memorial and pray the child's killers are brought to justice.
Still no word on if the child found was in Sophia Mason. The Merced County Coroner's Office is working to positively identify the body.
The Senate passed a massive government funding bill Thursday evening, a measure that includes $13.6 billion in aid to Ukraine. The $1.5 trillion spending bill, known on Capitol Hill as the Omnibus, cleared the House Wednesday. It now heads to President Biden's desk for his signature. Government funding is set to expire on Friday, and lawmakers have been racing the clock to prevent a shutdown. The Senate also passed a stopgap measure to extend government funding through this coming Tuesday. That short-term funding extension gives congressional clerks time to process the larger bill before sending it to the president for his signature. A Democratic Political Action Committee filed a complaint against former President Donald Trump on Monday. The American Bridge Super PAC told the Federal Election Commission that Trump is raising and spending money to promote a third presidential campaign. Federal campaign finance laws require anyone raising money to support a campaign to formally declare their candidacy before raising or spending more than $5,000. Trump has not made such a declaration. The complaint cites comments he made to the Conservative Political Action Conference last month. Trump said, quote, "We did it twice and we'll do it again. We're going to do it a third time," end quote. A Trump spokesperson called the complaint, quote, frivolous, and said it has, quote, zero merit. The ongoing tensions between the U.S. and Russia over Moscow's invasion of Ukraine does not extend to outer space. NASA astronaut Mark Van Hey will return to Earth from the International Space Station on Russia's Soyuz spacecraft. That's according to TASS, the Russian state-run news outlet. This announcement comes after the head of Russia's space agency made numerous social media posts that appeared to threaten that Van Hey would be stranded in space. For its part, NASA says it has a healthy relationship with Russian space officials and stays neutral on geopolitical issues. Van Hey, who landed on the ISS last April, is scheduled to come back on March 30th.
An anti-war protester holding a sign interrupted one of Russia's major state television live broadcasts around 9:31 p.m. Moscow time on Monday. The sign says, "No war. Stop the war. Do not believe propaganda. They tell you lies here. Russians against war," the last line of the sign says in English. As she was holding the sign, the anti-war protester first shouts, "Stop the war." Then she says, "No to war." 2 men were taken into custody in California in a gruesome murder case in Hawaii. Police say they found the decomposing body of an elderly man encased in concrete and covered in coffee grounds in the bathtub of a Honolulu home Tuesday. Police say Juan Theodore Barron and Scott Hannon were at the home Monday when they did a welfare check. They said Barron told them he was in a relationship with a 73-year-old man. They were not detained, and police did not find the body until the next day. A manhunt followed, and U.S. Marshals and the LAPD arrested them for second-degree murder on Wednesday. They said Barron was on a Mexican-bound Greyhound bus in Anaheim, hiding in a crawl space under an enclosed bench. Hannon was arrested in Inglewood. The pair could be extradited back to Hawaii as early as next week. According to police, the coffee grounds were likely an attempt to cover the smell. Well, if you want to visit the U.S. Capitol building, you may be able to again soon. After being closed to the public for 2 years, a plan to reopen is under review. Monday, staff from a variety of sectors, including the Capitol Police, discussed a drafted proposal. It would have the Capitol reopening in phases starting March 28th. The limit for business visitors would jump from 9 to 15 people and from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. weekdays. 2 tours per hour could be given to students with a cap at 50. In Phase 2, there would be a limited reopening of the Capitol Visitor Center, effective May 30th. The highly tentative date for this last phase would be Labor Day. And that's all for national news. When we come back, Brock Owens will give you the business and entertainment update. But first, let's check outside with Nick Staso for the weather. Nick?
Welcome back, everybody. I'm outside Eberly Library here at Waynesburg University, and today it is a gorgeous day outside. We're in the mid-60s, and it is calling for more temperatures like this throughout the week. It is also calling for 50% chance of rain this week. Stay tuned at the end of the newscast where I'll have your full weather forecast. Back to you guys.
Hello and welcome back. I'm Brock Owens here with your business and entertainment update. Get ready to pay more for rides on Lyft. The ride-hailing company said Monday it plans to add an additional fee to help drivers pay for gas. Lyft hasn't said exactly how much the surcharge will be, but Uber announced a similar fee last week. Lyft's largest competitor's surcharge will be 45 to 55 cents per trip, depending on location. The only exception is New York City, where there is no additional charge. Right now, gas is at its highest price it's ever been. The average cost for a gallon is $4.35. A film director has issued an apology to tennis stars Venus and Serena Williams. During her acceptance speech at Sunday night's Critics' Choice Award, director Jane Campion said, "Venus and Serena, you're such marvels. However, you don't play against the guys like I have to." Campion was accepting the award for Best Director for her film The Power of the Dog. All other nominees in the category were men. The tennis champions were in the audience. In addition to being inaccurate, the sisters have faced off against men. Some perceive Campion's statement as being dismissive of two successful black women's accomplishments. The Power of the Dog director apologized Monday, saying her comment was, quote, thoughtless, and that she did not intend to devalue two legendary black women and world-class athletes. Gas prices are still soaring across the U.S., and while the conflict in Ukraine is partly to blame, the impact is expected to stick around for a while. Just as many Americans begin to plan their spring break road trips, in today's Consumer Watch, 3 tips to help you save money at the gas pump.
A gallon of gas costs more than it ever has. On Monday, the average price for a gallon of gas was $4.32. That's higher than it was in 2008 when it was $4.11.
We're at a point now at an all-time high. I remember what happened in 2008. People got out their bicycles and started walking places where possible.
Although the U.S. barley uses Russian oil, Moscow's invasion of Ukraine is still a major factor. Russia is one of the world's biggest oil suppliers, and lower supply affects global prices.
Americans need to go into conservation mode and cut our consumption to improve the situation. There's no other way around it.
And with the conflict abroad intensifying, experts say price increases won't be stopping anytime soon. Expert Lauren Fix from Car Coach Reports has 3 tips to help you save money. Number 1, if you're in park, turn it off. Don't leave your car running, even to warm it up.
I know we typically think it's only a couple pennies to sit in the drive-thru. Park your vehicle and go inside. That will save you the most fuel.
Number 2, travel light. Get that heavy junk out of the back. Moving additional weight like bike racks and gear requires more fuel. And number 3, keep your car in good shape. That means getting in the habit of checking your tire pressure and keeping up with maintenance.
Anytime an engine's not maintained properly, that means something's not functioning properly. So you're not going to get the best fuel economy when a pump or a hose isn't working, or a belt or a bushing or bearing, something that's causing that vehicle to struggle.
For today's Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
So what's the Biden administration doing to address the issue? U.S. officials say it's quietly eyeing Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates to increase production and offset surging oil prices. In order for that to happen, U.S. officials will have to address its severely strained relationship with both countries. The Academy Awards are less than 2 weeks away, and some high-profile movie awards this past weekend shed some light on who might take home the Oscars this year. David Daniel has a roundup in today's Hollywood Minute.
25 years since our first run together. 1900 and nothing.
Britain's BAFTA Awards gave The Power of the Dog more Oscars momentum, honoring it with Best Film and Best Director for Jane Campion. 3 SAG Award winners tightened their grips on their Oscar categories by winning BAFTAs. Will Smith, leading actor for King Richard, Ariana DeBose, supporting actress for West Side Story, and Troy Kotsur, supporting actor for Coda. The only non-Oscar nominee to win a BAFTA for acting was Joanna Scanlon, leading actress for After Love.
Many years ago, this candle blessed our family with a miracle.
Encanto won the BAFTA for animated film, but it did not take the top prize from the Annie Awards, given by the International Animated Film Society. It gave Best Feature and 7 other awards to The Mitchells vs. the Machines. The Annie winner has gone on to take the animated feature Oscar 14 out of the last 20 years.
Open up the gate, let him out.
You sure he's not ready?
Go on, let him out.
Going by past performance, the Oscar race for Best Director may be nearly a lock. Jane Campion not only won the BAFTA for The Power of the Dog, she took the top prize from the Directors Guild of America. The DGA winner has gone on to receive Best Director at the Academy Awards 65 times in the last 73 years. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
That's all we have for your business and entertainment. Coming up next, we have Riley Holsinger with your Waynesburg Sports Report.
Hello and welcome into your Channel 14 Sports Report. I'm Riley Holsinger. The 3 things inevitable in life are death, taxes, and Waynesburg Central dominating in wrestling. The Red Raiders had a very successful weekend in Hershey as 5 wrestlers walked away with state medals. Mac Church became a 2-time state champion, while Rocco Welsh won his first state title after finishing 2nd 2 years in a row. Colton Stone King placed 5th at 138. Xander Fatoris finished 6th at 126, and Noah Tustin placed 7th at heavyweight. Speaking of wrestling, Waynesburg University announced that Aaron McKinney will be the new head wrestling coach. McKinney will be tasked with guiding the Yellow Jackets following Ron Headley's retirement. It was a fairly light week for Waynesburg University sports. Only 2 games occurred this past week. The Waynesburg baseball team couldn't capitalize off its last win in Florida to keep the momentum going. The Yellow Jackets dropped a doubleheader on Friday against Wilson College 5-4 in Game 1 and then 14-0 in Game 2. The baseball team has its home opener tomorrow afternoon at 3 to face off against Penn State Barron. The softball team is playing in a doubleheader against Allegheny College today. It's the home opener for the team. The Yellow Jackets are coming off of their successful 6-3 Myrtle Beach trip. The softball team won its first game against the Gators 1-0 and is currently playing in its second game. The Waynesburg outdoor track and field teams compete in their first meet of the season this Saturday in the Stan Romanowski Open at West Virginia University. That's all for sports. Stick around to Channel 14 News for your full weather report with Nick Stasow.
Where we aim to bring you the best local coverage of what you care about most. Everything from local businesses to hometown sports and the latest weather. We're keeping up to date with what you need to know about issues that affect our campus and our community. We're telling the stories that matter, celebrating our past, our future, and our potential. So tune in for all the latest buzz right here on WCTV Channel 14, Waynesburg. You're watching.
Welcome back, everyone, to your 7-day forecast. Let's get right into your weather. Today, Tuesday, was partly sunny with a low of 34 degrees and with a high of 61 degrees. Wednesday, sunny, low of 35 degrees with the highest we will see all week of 68 degrees. Finally starting to see the spring weather we've all been waiting for. Heading into Thursday, which is St. Patrick's Day, partly sunny low of 45 degrees and a high of 66. Definitely a great day to go for a drive and celebrate the holiday. Moving into Friday, definitely a switch of weather since the past few days this week. It will be cloudy with the 60% chance of rain, low of 47 degrees, and another high of 68. Heading into the weekend, Saturday will be cloudy again with the 60% chance of rain, low of 38 degrees, and a high of 54. Sunday, partly sunny, 33 degrees, and the low of 54 degrees. Rounding out your weekend, Monday, sunny, low of 33 degrees, and a high of 64 degrees. Finally, a week from today, next Tuesday, cloudy, low of 43 degrees, and a high of 63 degrees. Finally have some great weather coming this week, apart from the rain, but definitely going to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. Caleb and Rachel, how about you guys?
Well, thank you very much, Nick Stasow. Speaking of St. Patrick's Day, like Nick mentioned, it's that time of the month where it's going to be with Shamrock Shakes. I've already had one this month. How about you, Rachel?
Oh, I actually haven't had any yet, but that's probably what I'm looking forward to the most for this St. Patty's Day. That's all we have time for today, and we hope everyone has a great St. Patty's Day. Make sure to tune in every Tuesday, live at 5.
This has been a production of Waynesburg Community Television.